cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. What's cracking? Back with some more Magic Johnson, Larry Bird content. Magic Johnson's last second showdown with Larry Bird needs a deep rewind by a YouTuber/YouTube channel called Secret Base. I've done content from this channel before. Like what they do, so I'm back for more. All right? Y'all know where I stand. If you don't, if you're new to the channel, I think Larry Bird and Magic Johnson are both top 10 players of all time. I think Larry Bird is the greatest small forward of all time. I think Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard of all time. Anyway, I love digging into new content about these two legendary players and their stories. So with no further ado, actually, go check out our Larry Bird and our Magic Johnson playlist. Now, with no further ado, let's get into this video.
It's June 9th, 1987. We're at Boston Garden for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Celtics...
For the record, June 9th, 1987 is exactly 1 month before I was born, July 9th, 1987. All right.
Celtics lead the Los Angeles Lakers by 1 point, and if they get a stop here, they'll even the series. This is Magic Johnson, hoping to find LA a bucket, steal a road win, and build the Lakers a commanding 3-1 series lead. Before we see how this plays out, we should reflect on this historic rivalry, examine how the powerhouse participants have shifted, and enjoy the twists and turns of this wild and rowdy game. Let's rewind. So, first of all, this is a very familiar finals matchup, but the stakes and odds of this skirmish don't exactly match the precedent. The Minneapolis Lakers were an early NBA powerhouse. When they made the finals, they won 5 titles in 5 tries. I mean, just look at them. They're terrifying. But in 1959, the finalist Lakers met Red Auerbach's excellent Boston Celtics for the first time. Boston swept the Lakers in the '59 finals, their second title, and then they absolutely owned the 1960s. Boston claimed 9 of the next 10 NBA championships, perhaps the greatest dynastic run in pro sports history. 6 of the Celtics' finals victories in that decade came at the expense of the Lakers, who had since moved to Los Angeles. In the 70s and early 80s, these teams both thrived but avoided one another in the finals. Wilt Chamberlain joined the Lakers and led them out of their championship drought, taking down the Knicks in 1972. At that time, the Celtics were still rebuilding after Bill Russell's remarkable tenure as player and head coach. But soon thereafter, Tom Heinsohn coached the Celtics to rings in '74 against the Bucks and '76 against the Suns. And actually, here's Tommy on the call tonight. So these rivals exited the 1970s in great shape, but with no direct contact in the postseason, despite Pat Riley's lovely playoff beard. But if you look right here and here, you'll know why it felt like the Lakers and Celtics were meant to cross paths again soon. Magic and Larry. It began in college. Larry Bird's scoring and remarkable all-court genius turned little Indiana State University into a force, just eating the rest of the Missouri Valley Conference. Magic Johnson was the dazzling 6'9" point guard leading the mighty Michigan State Spartans. And their long-awaited meeting in the 1979 NCAA Final became a blockbuster event. Never mind that the actual game was kind of a dud. An individual rivalry was born. And that rivalry presented a potential NBA savior, at least for the fans and journalists who had become disillusioned by the late 70s game. Bird's rights already belonged to Boston. The Celtics drafted him in 1978, before his senior season. Meanwhile, thanks to free agent compensation, the misfortune of the New Orleans Jazz, and one lucky coin flip, LA held the first pick in the 1979 draft. The same spring Boston caved to Larry Bird's rookie contract demands, the Lakers got to draft Magic Johnson #1 overall. Each star found his place quickly. Magic made an art of table setting. His wizardly passes energized LA's more veteran stars. With the notable exception of the 1980 finals versus the Sixers, when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was hurt for Game 6 and Magic took over to win it all. He's the only rookie ever to win NBA Finals MVP. Bird also joined a team of veterans, guys like Dave Cowens and Tiny Archibald, but Larry became Boston's go-to scorer right off the bat. Bird won his first title the year after Magic, 1981.
Make clear that Magic did get drafted to a much more competent team than the team Larry Bird got drafted to. While you can sit here and say, yes, there were veterans on Bird's squad, this was by no means a good team. Magic was more or less the fantastic missing piece, a big missing piece, but the missing piece for pushing that team into immediate championship contention with a co-all-star. Okay? I have to throw that out there.
As the centerpiece of a budding Big Three frontcourt alongside Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale, who was a rookie at the time. Then Magic led the Lakers over the Sixers again in the '82 finals. The rivalry was booming, but still at a distance. These guys were left hyping up 2 regular season matchups a year. The other 80 games were just games. NBA fans still dreamed of a direct, high-stakes contest. And that dream came true in the 1984 NBA Finals. The Celtics had only improved under coach K.C. Jones. Bird was headed for his first league MVP trophy. All of the Big Three were all-stars, including Sixth Man of the Year Kevin McHale. New acquisition Dennis Johnson embraced a role as Boston's defensive stopper. Pat Riley's Lakers were transitioning too as the 70s core aged. Kareem remained the centerpiece in his late 30s, but Jamal Wilkes began passing the baton to a younger forward, James Worthy, whom LA had acquired via another draft rights robbery, this time from the horrid Cleveland Cavaliers. This group assumed the task of beating Boston in the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. They failed, squandering leads aplenty. Collapses in games 2 and 4 ruined LA's momentum. Boston would go on to win a 7-game affair typified by on-court violence, sweltering heat here at Boston Garden, and, of course, the mastery of Larry Bird. Bird and Boston held the upper hand in these conjoined rivalries. Until '85. Once again, the 1985 Finals featured as many shoves and elbows and punches as it did baskets. But this time, the Lakers overcame. LA finally took a ring off the Celtics, their first in 9 tries, in an impressive 6-game victory clinched at Boston Garden. Doubly impressive when you look at Boston's home record since that game. In '85, it helped a great deal that Worthy broke out as one of the Lakers' best scorers. Begoggled and clutch as hell, the character known as Big Game James was born. Magic had his viable, younger co-pilot for whenever Kareem Abdul-Jabbar finally walked away from the game. Granted, Kareem was named '85 Finals MVP at age 38, so, no rush. That was 2 years ago. Let's check in on the Lakers now. Big Game James certainly panned out. The 26-year-old is now a 2-time All-Star. Worthy produced the biggest scoring game of this series, 33 points in LA's blowout Game 1 victory at home. Worthy had a tough first half tonight, but found his rhythm in the second. He dropped this huge isolation bucket less than a minute ago to keep this game close. And Magic has acquired even more young helpers.
AC Green.
New starters like AC Green and Byron Scott, the latter of whom had a huge Game 2 performance. LA pulled ahead 2-0 thanks to a couple routes at home. Which is to say, Magic and the Lakers snagged 2 wins without facing this kind of situation. Seconds remaining, gotta get 2 points. Who will it be? This is the obvious move. Kareem, single covered in the post, presents one of the handiest tools basketball has ever seen, the skyhook. Kareem is not the first great Laker to thrive off the hook shot. The towering George Mikan loved to turn a hip toward the rim and arc the ball high over his head, where the defender couldn't do a damn thing about it. Young Lou Alcindor practiced the ambidexterity drill named after Mikan and also watched some of Cliff Hagan. Hagan stood just 6'4", but used a prodigious hook shot to create separation from would-be shot blockers in college and the pros. Before Alcindor grew bigger than his peers in New York, he adopted the same shot for that same reason. And even as the biggest guy on the floor in college, Alcindor faced constraints. The NCAA banned dunking. His hook, released from so high that its trajectory almost approximated a dunk, was the next best thing. Alcindor became an NBA star in Milwaukee, where he changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was Bucks announcer Eddie Doucette who gave Abdul-Jabbar's indefensible weapon its lofty nickname, the Skyhook. A decade into his career and now a Laker, Kareem got an excellent new point guard, Magic Johnson, and Magic fucking loved the Skyhook. Magic's first career game ended with Kareem burying a deep Skyhook buzzer beater. He made 6'11" Swen Nader look like a shrimp, and he made Magic lose his damn mind. In the 8 years since, Magic, ever the distributor, has maintained that enthusiasm for the Skyhook. He's delighted to bring the ball up, raise a fist to signal post up, then simply dump the ball inside and let the tall guy do his thing. Magic is still very much a point guard, but he has also inherited a chunk of Kareem's finishing burden, not just for a game here and there, but continuously for this whole season.
I've seen Magic Johnson dish out a steady diet of sky hooks and baby hooks. And whenever Magic will get the ball outside the box and you see him curl to go inside, you already knew the baby hook or the floater was coming, and it seemed like it go in every single time.
He's even got a decent hook of his own. Magic has received fame and acclaim for a while, but this season is the one the NBA's top assist guy also became one of its foremost scorers. A couple weeks ago, Magic won league MVP, breaking the multi-year streak of his foremost rival. On one hand, it's totally reasonable that a center in his 18th season would ease off the gas a bit and let his younger co-star take the reins. On the other hand, Kareem still got it when he needs it. He had vintage scoring performances in each prior series win. The West got wrecked by a dude who just turned 40. On the original hand, Kareem needed it tonight and hasn't always got it. It was kinda rough in the first quarter watching such a deadly weapon go clank, clank, clank on the first 3 attempts. Kareem just surrendering the ball to little Jerry Seasting, or actually airballing a skyhook, that was not fun. That helped the Celtics get out in transition and stem the tide of a double-digit Laker comeback. Down 7 with just a couple minutes left, the Lakers desperately needed a bucket, and Kareem just kind of lumbered into a travel. But Magic trusts his vet. Magic brought the ball up with a chance to pull ahead in the final minute. LA hadn't led since the opening minutes. He called for Michael Cooper, who had just hit a huge 3, to post up on the strong side. Then a Cooper screen released Kareem to dunk home a perfect lob. Of course, on the next possession, just moments ago, Kareem drew a foul and missed the second free throw that would have tied the game. I have no idea what Magic thinks about these recent events. This post-up right here is the traditional first option, Kareem in perfect position for his signature skyhook. But this guy is 40 years old, 5 of 17 from the field, and literally just missed in the clutch. Magic has been excellent from the field. He's LA's leading scorer tonight. Moreover, if we rewind to the inbound, we'll see that Magic already created a switch for himself by setting a screen for Worthy. Magic Johnson is the league's most amazing passer, and it helps to have an all-time great finisher as a target, Kareem and the skyhook. But with more of a scoring role this season and a favorable mismatch, might Magic take this himself? Let's see. Welcome to a moment in history.
We know how this goes.
5 seconds to go. Magic with a hook shot. Scores with 2.
Magic hit the skyhook himself. Kind of a baby skyhook, but what a finish. Well, just one thing. The Lakers left time on the clock. Boston gets the ball back out of a timeout, down 1 with 2 seconds remaining. Magic's moment in history might disappear into whatever happens here.
Bird freeze up.
With one buzzer beater, Boston could tie this series and perhaps push ahead to win another title. Considering the circumstances, that would be an incredible feat.
Bird did an excellent job as the defender was trying to front him. Used it to create space. Freed himself, and like, you know what? In case you haven't seen this before, I'll shut up.
Throughout history, the Celtics have thrived off depth. Some credit legendary coach Fred Auerbach with inventing the concept of a sixth man. Kevin McHale filled that role beautifully until last season, when he graduated to a full-time starting role after Boston traded away Cedric Maxwell. That trade brought in a new bench star, Bill Walton. The hero of the 70s Blazers had too many chronic foot issues to log any more heavy minutes, but made the most of his role as Boston's big man off the bench. The 33-year-old former MVP inherited the NBA's Sixth Man of the Year award from McHale and played a crucial role in Boston's thrilling title run. It helped to have an experienced center pitching in against Houston's Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson in the NBA Finals. And after winning it all last year, the Celtics had an incredible opportunity to get even deeper. Thanks to a Lakers-esque trade a few years prior, the NBA champions owned the number 2 pick in the '86 draft. They used it to select perhaps the best scorer in college basketball, the electrifying Len Bias out of Maryland. As Worthy, A.C. Green, and Byron Scott were to Magic, Bias would be to Larry, the younger star, the new co-leader for a future after some of these vets moved along. But mere days after Bias became a Celtic came shocking news of tragedy and heartbreak that may never fade. Less than a year ago, on June 19, 1986, 22-year-old Len Bias died after a cocaine overdose. He had just begun to realize his life goal. Not just to play in the NBA, but to play for the vaunted Celtics, a group so ready to welcome the newcomer. Larry Bird, a grouchy veteran long past the days of extra practice, had planned to attend rookie camp with Bias. That's how thrilled he was to mentor the next generation. Bird called Bias's death the cruelest thing he'd ever heard. Too shocking for words. That shock, the pall of a teammate lost before they could enjoy his company, has hung over this whole Celtics season. And it was a slog for the defending champs to reach these finals. 2 important reserve vets, Walton and forward Scott Wedman, have been injured basically all year. With that depleted bench and scarcely any influx of young talent, nearly all the Boston starters have averaged career-high minutes. Their collective exhaustion only compounded in the grinding 7-game battles it took to knock out the Bucks in the second round and the Pistons in the conference final. That last series claimed the ankles of both Parrish and McHale. Danny Ainge's knee is busted. all have performed with outstanding mettle right up through tonight, with the important exception of this flubbed rebound just moments ago. That set up Magic's baby Skyhook. The bench did step up this week. Parrish's foul trouble in Game 3 mobilized bench big Greg Kite, who damn near held his own against Kareem in the critical Boston victory. The crowd welcomed Kite as a hero tonight. Just listen to the reaction when he checked in. Or when he sparked a little fight by wrecking Worthy in midair. This scene and the building excitement in the home crowd happened just before the end of a first half the Celtics commanded. Bird saw that all coming. Sports Illustrated quoted Larry saying a Game 3 loss would have spelled doom, but a mere 2-1 deficit made it easy to get up for tonight's game. Spicy talk from Larry, especially when you consider that the Celtics have since blown the lead, but as he books it to the perimeter corner, you might recall how he's backed up big words before. This is the player who walked into the locker room before the first ever All-Star three-point contest last season, asked the assembled shooters who was going to come in second, probably with a bit more swearing than this quote, and then won it convincingly. He repeated that title this season. This man has the utmost confidence in his ability to shoot, and while he's just 7 of 18 this evening, it was only moments ago that a once slumping Bird broke free from Worthy's jersey grip to drill the three-pointer that put Boston ahead before Magic's baby Skyhook. And now it looks like Larry will have a shot to erase Magic's big moment right out of history. With one flick of his wrist, he could tie the series and sustain Boston's hopes of repeating as champions after a season of heartbreak and toil. Let's see if Larry can do it. Welcome to a moment in history.
Bird fires it. And the Lakers have won in Pat Riley, and the Lakers dance off the court.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm really glad I watched that video because I've seen that play. I knew how all this would shake out. I knew how it all would happen. But what I didn't know is that Kareem really struggled that game, and the handful of plays that led up to Magic Johnson hitting that sky hook and everything that Magic Johnson probably had to consider with a chance to hit the go-ahead bucket in the fourth quarter. Like I didn't know that. I didn't know that Kareem was out here bricking sky hooks, getting blocked on sky hooks, traveling, airballing sky hooks, missing a clutch free throw, and having to consider, you never lose confidence in your guy. You know what he's capable of, but given a slate that you've seen today, what do you make as your next decision when it's at this point in the game, the most critical point in the game, and what could possibly be your last possession with a chance to go up? Do you continue to feed that guy, or do you take it upon yourself, even though he has position in the post, which seems to be a mismatch? In a scenario where you've seen him succeed so many times before, do you go to it again, given the recent pattern of history, or do you take it upon yourself to create? And Magic Johnson obviously made the right decision there. Yeah, I didn't know that Kareem wasn't having the best offensive game. And then, the Larry Bird shot, I've seen it before, and it's one of those shots. I remember how Kevin Crowley put it. That is Kevin Crowley, right? No. It's Clayton Crowley. But Kevin Crowley's a lacrosse player. Clayton Crowley put it. He's like, Bird has been so reliable in the clutch and hitting these kind of buckets time after time after time. And he said, as many times as I've seen Larry Bird miss this shot, every time I watch it again, I still expect him to make it. and I'm still shocked that the bucket doesn't go in. Bird did an excellent job at creating the space. So, and when players try to front you like that on the inbound pass, that's how you do it, man. That's how you break away and get free. Smart play by Bird. Obviously, given the opportunity, I'm sure he'd hit it again. And he had, like he said, he had just hit the three before that. The big three. So, the Lakers are very fortunate. They are fortunate Larry missed that shot, because there was probably a 10% probability that Larry Bird misses that open three. 10% that he misses. Crazy how the smallest things can rewrite or dictate history, however you look at it. Crazy. And the Len Bias thing, even to this day, it still haunts and has affected many people, especially Boston Celtics fans. Like, I hear them time after time. To this day, they bring up rest in peace, Len Bias. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but it's always what if we did have Len Bias? What if he didn't overdose on drugs? What happened in the Celtics history could have been very different from what actually happened. People still hurt and affected by the loss of Len Bias till today. No question about it. It's just crazy how things happen. But I'm glad I watched that, man. That was a nice deep rewind for sure. And I knew all the major landmarks leading up to that. The draft, the college, who won what, leading up to them actually meeting, et cetera, et cetera. But I like that context about what was happening in that game specifically. That's great, though. I think I even watched that full game. I had the Ultimate Lakers DVD that has like all the dynasties in it, and then it has like the documentary on that championship year, and then with each year you could watch a very specific iconic game. I'm pretty sure I've watched it before, I just forgot. Anywho, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified. Let me know what you think about it. Appreciate you guys for stepping in. Shout out to the Laker fans out there, and shout out to the Celtics fans out there, Magic Gang and the Bird Gang. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I will catch you on the next one. We out, baby.